Modern real estate practice, page 60, has been recorded without adequate evidence of a bona fide dispute. The property owner can have the lis pendens expunged. Governmental powers. Individual ownership rights are subject to certain powers or rights held by federal, state, and local governments. These limitations on the ownership of real estate are imposed for the general welfare of the community and therefore supersede the rights or interests of the individual. Government powers include police power, eminent domain, taxation, and escheat, which can be remembered by the acronym PEAT. Police power. Every state has the power to enact legislation to preserve order, protect the public health and safety, and promote the general welfare of its citizens. That authority is known as a state's police power. The state's authority is passed on to municipalities and counties through legislation called enabling acts. What is identified as being in the public interest can vary considerably from state to state and region to region. The police power of government is used to enact environmental protection laws, zoning ordinances, and building codes. These include the regulations that govern the use, maximum occupancy, size, location, and construction of real estate. The government's power to regulate land use is not absolute. A law or regulation must be uniform and non-discriminatory on its face, even though in practice it may operate to the advantage or disadvantage of a particular owner or owners. In practice, a large area of previously undeveloped land consists of 27 different parcels and is located near the location of a new highway. The land is incorporated into the city limits of Cedar City. The City Council conducts the appropriate public hearings on the use of the land and ultimately decides to zone most of the area for residential use and a smaller section for commercial use. Because of its proximity to the highway, the commercially zoned area will keep heavy traffic away from the residential area. Years earlier, all the land was farmland and similarly valued. As a result of the zoning, however, a parcel zoned for commercial use will most likely become far more valuable than a similar sized parcel zoned for residential use. Eminent domain. Eminent domain is the right for the government to acquire privately owned real estate for public use. Condemnation is the process by which the government exercises this right by either judicial or administrative proceedings. Generally, states delegate their power of eminent domain to cities and counties or public entities for public services. For example, a public housing authority might take privately owned land to build low-income housing, or the state's Land Clearance Commission or Redevelopment Authority could use the power of eminent domain to allow construction of a new sports arena. If there were no other feasible way to do so, a railway, utility company, or state highway department might acquire farmland to extend railroad tracks, bringing electricity to remote new development, or build a highway. Memory tip for four governmental powers: Pete, police power; eminent domain, taxation, SG. Eminent domain is the government's right to acquire private property for public use. Condemnation is the actual process of taking property.